Welcome back to Conversational Gems with Radha. In part 1, we spoke about Radha's journey as a Zoho partner, the growth of Spikra, and the art of building lasting client relationships. In part 2, we are going to dive into the world of technology, innovation, and what the future holds for Spikra. And we are also going to get some advice and tips for aspiring partners and much more. So we are into the part 2, where we are going to dive into all about technology and innovation and what the future holds for Spikra. So technology is at the heart of what we do. So Zoho constantly innovates. So we recently released this AI agent, Zia, and low-code platforms. So these are few examples of what we do. So how do you leverage these techs for your clients? And you also told me that clients themselves are coming up and asking you for AI. We want AI features.
Yeah.
So what's happening now?
So I think with AI, it is going to be even more easy for us to focus on one thing. Right now, we do from consulting to implementation to training to onboarding to continuous support. We do a lot of things, right? So though all of these are critical, it is very difficult to give one thing as a separate service. Right? You can't just do training. Then it has to be a general product training. You can do it for Zoho Books, but even then the process training is a different thing, right? But with AI in place, I think customers are going to leverage AI and get more clarity, like I said earlier. Now we go and do a business requirement document for them. With AI, they can do it themselves, right? So drastically, it is going to reduce the time for them as well as us. Then sometimes my teams ask, like, even to keep a small custom field, do they need me? Right. So even now they don't need us, but because the adoption is not there, somewhere there's a cloud around them saying these things are difficult. I think that's going to go. So they're able to do a lot more things for themselves and we would be able to add real value, right? Then something where it's really a critical problem, then we can go and solve it because most of the things AI would have done already. That's one part of it. And the other part of it is I see there's a huge potential to sell Zoho now. Companies who are willing to be AI first in the next 2 years or so, they all need a software and AI runs on data, right? The first time software adoption is going to increase even for companies who never even thought about it. So for the next 1 year is definitely a very good time to sell a lot of Zoho licenses, be it any product. And the year after, by the time right now, running an AI is very costly. Training an LLM takes a long time, right? So those are going to get stabilized in the next 1 year also. So I see a lot of potentials on where we currently need 5 or 6 solutions and where we have a people dependency, right? Most of the service companies also have it and an enterprise companies also have it. If that one person who has worked there for a decade leaves, then they're back to square one, right? So that's going to go away because there are tools to document. There are tools which can suggest you the process right now. So it's going to be interesting, I feel.
Okay. Let's talk about generating leads. You told me that you don't spend any dollar on your marketing budget. But what are your go-to strategies for getting new business opportunities apart from these referral?
I'm very active on all the platforms, be it Fiverr, Freelancer, or Facebook groups. There are still Facebook groups that are active. People do talk about work at Facebook sometimes.
Really?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That still happens. So I'm very active on all of these and I attend a lot of meetups. So more than networking at the meetups, I also get added in most of these WhatsApp groups also. So I'm in a part of about in the last 5-6 years, I'm in a part of about 40-50 groups.
Wow.
Right. So sometimes people asks wherever there's Zoho, I go into my WhatsApp, search for Zoho, look for all the recent conversations, even if I've missed it over the weekend. And when I went abroad also, I attended a few networking meetup and I made sure I was a part of the WhatsApp group, right? So these are the things that I'm very active on. And whether it goes through or not, that connection will help you. And if you assist the customer really well, and as I said, if you're very transparent, so it's like, yes, you have a use case, but unfortunately, I think that you're not very serious about it right now, right? This is a good to have, but not a must have. So we may start the project in a Josh, but I'm pretty much sure that you're not going to be as interested as in it after a month or so because you don't have a real problem to solve, right? You don't feel any pain point right now. You just want to improvise at times. So if that conversations when you have with the client, they're going to refer you with somebody else. So I've got a lot of leads from people who have not been my ICP also because I've told them maybe your priorities have changed and anything. It's make sure to close that loop. And this is one way of, generating leads, and you get to choose the person that you work with, right? When you spend so much in marketing and you get about 100 leads, you are forced to assist all those 100 leads. And then you have a guilt of saying, I'm not generating my ICP leads. As the company grows, the ICP also grows. Earlier, I was working with a lot of freelancers. Now I don't work with freelancers. We moved to then startups, now mid-market, now with enterprise, right? So if you keep changing your ICP as you grow, then your marketing budget also has to grow. I would rather look for a problem to solve and a person to work with. That's all my sales strategy has been so far.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. And it's been working out for you.
Yes, it's been working out really well.
Okay. So, what do you think about these thought leadership marketing, if I can say that, influencer marketing / thought leadership?
I have no idea. You're probably asking a long person.
Okay.
So within the company, it's been very difficult. For example, for a company of scale of Zoho, right? You would always have people who are not agreeing with the CEOs or the leaders' thoughts, right? But it'll take a long time. Consistent effort of telling them what you're actually achieving, what is the immediate goal, what is the goal for a long time, why do you have to be a part of it. I think when you keep doing that narrative over and over again, they tend to understand what value you add. So I think that's the only leadership that I'm trying to do. Otherwise, it's like you hardly have a team of 20. Come on, then what leadership is here? Nothing. Yeah.
Okay. So you told me that you are very active in these groups, Facebook groups. So what about LinkedIn? What approach do you take on LinkedIn?
I'm blessed in terms of how my profile has grown in LinkedIn. When I started Spectra, until then, even when I was here in my previous companies also, I will always look for somebody to vet my emails before I send it to the customers. After I'm on my own, there's nobody to get. Apo, we only had Grammarly, right? And even Grammarly can only grammatically correct. It can't tell you whether you're conveying it right. Right? So I started, okay, then I have to improve my writing skills some way. I've never written a blog or article or anything in my life ever. Probably 1 or 2 here and there, nothing of that sort. So then I said, okay, let me use LinkedIn as, it's not as popular as it is today, like 6 years ago. There were very few people on it. And you only had there were only articles that will come into your feed.
There were a lot of restrictions.
Restrictions also. So there were only good content coming in. So no celebrations of that sort or anything. It was a platform to share more of blogs. So I thought I'll write there so that if we look back after a couple of years, it'll be my digital journey also. And when you're not good at English, and this is only that you write it in a very simple English, right? So that kind of started gaining a lot of followers. Today I have about 24,000 followers or so. I hardly write about Zoho. But because I have so much of connection, every time somebody is writing Zoho, people will go and tag me. And that has worked really well. Again, I'll get a lot of inbound text for Zoho. We receive at least 1 lead a day. Or at least I would say 3 qualified leads every week from LinkedIn. Again, I don't have LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I don't have a premium account. But because I've been very authentic in what I feel and write, I've got some backlashes also, right? Both personally and professionally, whatever I write, I've got some backlashes also. Sometimes some debates also happen. And when I know this is a controversial topic, I turn off the comments. So I do that also. But I've got a lot of leads from LinkedIn.
Okay.
That has given me a lot of branding, I would say. More than lead generation, that has given a very good branding.
Okay, nice. Okay, so now we are going into the gamification part. The first is called Deal or No Deal. I will present you with 3 scenarios, and you let me know what you would do at this point. Okay. The first scenario, client is telling you that we are interested in Zoho One, but it's beyond our current budget. So at this point, how do you handle it?
We'll break it down, understand what's their budget. And then, as I said earlier, you can't implement Zoho One all at a time, right? It's not a buffet meal at all, right? So it has to be a carefully curated portion of what you immediately need. So we then deep dive into, you can get a Zoho One for sure. But when it comes to implementation, you'll have to take it in phase-wise manner. What is your biggest problem to solve? We'll take it that way. And if they're okay with it, then yes. Then they said, no, I'm paying for 45. I need all 45 to use somewhere. Somebody should be able to use it. Then that's definitely a no deal. Then I know he's not getting into the right tool or he just wants to use it. Then that's a no deal for sure.
Okay. So
that's a red flag.
Okay, second scenario. the client is telling you that, can you build a fully customized Sales IQ bot just for us?
Huh.
So at this point, do you take on the challenge or you like set boundaries there?
No, definitely. Talking about Sales IQ, that's one of the boost for me also to build a team. I attended one of the community meetups back in 2019, and that's when the chatbot was launched. And I learned how a chatbot was built then. And within that next year, we built about 30 chatbots.
Wow.
And that is one of the reasons why we were able to get leads from other regions also.
Okay.
So everybody were onto the chatbots like 5-6 years ago. So with Sales IQ alone, we have got some 30 bots. We built it just for that year, just by me, right? And probably one more person or so. So chatbot is a very good place to start with, even with AI today, right? Even if you're entering into an enterprise, chatbots are always the low-hanging fruit that you can get started with. So I would definitely build a chatbot for them, but we'll understand the experience of it. Sometimes they just want to shut their entire support team down and then use a chatbot. In that case, I would say, no, that's not what it is for, right? You still need the human's touch. You would have to make sure that the customer's experience is also good. It's not like you put a bot and then shut all the doors. That's not how it works. So we talk to them, and if they're ready to agree, then we'll proceed.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. So the third and a final scenario, the client is telling you that we want to start the project tomorrow, or it can be like, we want you to finish the project in so and so in a very time critical manner. So can you do it? So
Yeah.
what will be your response at this point?
I would ask them, are you clear in what you want? What's the goal of the project? Who is going to be the project manager from your side, the key decision maker of your side? And then do you have a BRD ready, right? Do you have the budget approval and everything ready, right? If you have all these 5 things, then we can start tomorrow.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's going to take time. Yeah.
Okay.
And when they say, I want to fix it by this end, then we will say, what are your goals that needs to be fixed by that end? It's like you can't have like 40 features built in a day, right? Again, we'll get into a negotiation call. Instead of money, we'll also discuss what's your negotiables, what's your non-negotiables. We can deliver the non-negotiables by that particular time, and then we can take it of the non-negotiables later also. But only when you get into that call, you would know that the 7th point is the most important one, and the first point is definitely not important to them. It's just that everybody is doing it and they wanted to do it.
Okay.
We then take that kind of calls.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so the next is called guess the partner term. So I will describe a partner related
Okay.
term in a roundabout way. So you have 10 seconds to guess the correct term.
Okay.
Need not be very partner specific, but more of like business terms. We can
Okay.
call it like that. So the first is when a partner collaborates with another to deliver a bigger, more comprehensive solution to a client.
What do you call it?
Co-selling.
Co-selling. Okay. Okay. I've never done that, so probably I don't know.
Okay, so second is this document is crucial for setting expectations, scope, and deliverables for a
SOWMSA. Scope of work and master service agreement.
super. Okay, I didn't know that.
What do you call it?
No, I just
Okay.
knew the expansion of it.
Okay.
Okay, so the final one, the process of educating clients on the full potential of Zoho's products to ensure that they get the most value. So
In simple term, it's training. I don't know what all the fancy words are that.
our client
Just like it.
enablement.
That's a fancy word.
What do you call it?
Training. Only that.
Training.
Training.
Oh, okay.
Simple training. Yeah.
Nice. Right. So, what are your next plans for Spikra?
Spikra.
Yeah.
So I'm eagerly waiting for the AI marketplace that Zoho just launched. I'm on the wait list. So we have a 3 to 4 member of AI team as well. For the last 4-5 months, we are making sure to learn every possible LLM, every new AI that's coming into picture. So we're also spending some in research on building these chatbots. Like I said, that's also something that we've started. And it's crucial time, right? I think in the next 2 years, people will no longer pay for licenses. They will only pay for usages. So we're also thinking to see how we can align our services so that we don't depend on the commission anymore. Because right now you get a commission upfront after you sell, right? But when it moves to a usage, the customer is going to pay, the invoice is going to be raised only after a certain point of time. Then they get a time to get paid. And then the commissions are realized and then you get paid. So the cash flow will take about 60 to 9 days, whereas it's like 15 days today. So we're planning to align our services a little bit more on that. We are moving towards more industry specific consulting. All of those things that we're trying.
Okay, cool. That's exciting. Okay, so for those who are just starting out or planning to start as Zoho partners, what would be your advice to them?
This is the best time, and don't burn your hands, right? You can't force a customer to use it if they don't realize the value of the product. No matter how much you sell the value, if you really don't have a need, then don't sell for them, right? And if you're starting, work with existing customers more and more, and eventually start selling. And start selling with the products that are easy to implement. For example, Zoho Flow, Sales IQ, Zoho campaigns, and Zoho marketing automations. These are the things that you can do it yourself, and you don't need a team, a booking solution, or a simple Zoho invoice, right? So get them to one such product where you can implement it yourself. And then as you make money, hire a team. So don't start with a 10-member team. Hire the senior. If you're bootstrapping, don't start with a 10-member team. Hire from other partners and seniors and so on, or from Zoho, and then have a big team and then don't have a client, right? So make sure you start small and eventually so that you build it for long term.
Okay.
Yeah. And make sure to sign your MSAs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine that you're going to write a book called Adventure as a Zoho partner. What would be your first chapter? What would be the name of your first chapter?
I don't even know I can pull up one page of it. I've never thought of it.
Okay.
I would say I would probably, if I need to have a book someday, I would fill it with a lot of customer stories. How every company went from where they are to where they were to where they are, right? Probably
Just showing the real
impact of it, because technologies could change, products could change, the concepts could change, but the value that you've delivered and how it has impacted that business, that stays, right? That's the real growth, and the job opportunity that those companies have given to people and increasing their quality of life, that stays. I don't know what to name that book. Yeah.
We will.
Avlo English, I don't know.
Maybe we'll get there at one point.
Someday, yeah.
Okay, like you said, accidental entrepreneur. Who knows? Maybe you would be accidental author.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are almost there to conclude this part 2. So I would like to wrap this up with a rapid fire round.
Okay.
So just say the first thing that comes to mind. I will be giving you 2 options.
Sure.
So the first is product customization or out of the box solutions.
Out of the box solutions any day.
Okay, cool. A long-term client or a high-value project?
Long-term clients.
Okay. AI-driven automation or human-first approach?
Human-first approach.
On-site consultations or virtual meetings?
Recently on-site.
Okay. Enterprise clients or SMBs?
Both.
Both. Okay. Big wins or steady growth?
Steady growth any day.
Okay. I'm curious to the question there. You said recently on-site?
Yes. Because we're a COVID-first company, right? It took me 2 years to even meet my own teammates.
Okay.
So in entire 2020, by February, we were 3 people. By the end of December, we were 14 people. One from Qatar, Pina was onboarded. We had a few from Bangalore. We had one from Coimbatore, Madurai, Chennai, everywhere. And we had to wait until 2023 to even meet each other in person.
Okay.
Right? So it was all offsite. And though in my previous companies, I had known the importance of going and meeting a person, I didn't understand it I didn't give much importance when I'm doing the sales, right? I thought if I go there, we're a very small team. So if I go to meet a client, I would waste about 6 hours. And I don't know if that deal will come in or not. I would rather do an online sale, right?
Okay.
But turns out the missed opportunities today, I'm interviewing some of them in my other CEO shoot, right? So that's a huge opportunity that I missed earlier. So there are a couple of them. And you get to understand a lot more of their processes, the actual pain points. They can tell you anything, but the real use case is somewhere else. And that gives a good trust also. And understanding your clientele, the ICP that they say, right? The ICP can be realized much better when you meet them, right? The evaluation goes 2 ways. It's not that they're always evaluating you, right? We also need to evaluate them if the synergy is matched. So recently on-site a lot.
Okay, a lot of learnings in...
Yes.
So before we wrap this episode, any few words that you want to say?
I'm just grateful for everything that Zoho has given me. This was one of my dream companies that I wanted to join for a very long time. I even had some prayings done to my local temple, and I had some offerings also to done that I got a job in Zoho.
Okay.
I didn't know that there will be a journey like this in future for me, but Zoho has been very kind, and I love the goodwill that Zoho always stands for, right? It's been an exciting journey, and I'm very, very grateful for everything that I've learned in the last 6 years.
Okay,
That's all.
thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for
Thank
coming
you
in
so
for
much
this
for
episode.
having me as well. Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Conversational Gems with Radha Rangachari. See you next time. Until then, stay curious, keep growing, and keep innovating.